to another episode of Let's Binge About It. I got a special guest with me, Greg Centineo. You might recognize his last name, Noah Centineo's father. How are you, man?
Benny, I'm doing fantastic, buddy. Great to be with you, man.
I'm so excited to talk to you about everything because you have done so many amazing things in this industry. So I want to start from the beginning because you're known for helping people, reach the stardom that they deserve, Noah included. How did you get involved in this career? What drew you to this career?
Well, Benny, man, that's a great question, dude. I think it's just something I've been doing my whole life is basically trying to help people. And I'm not talking about like this benevolent guy out there just trying, you know what I mean? It was just kind of a kind of intrinsic belief in my DNA that just said, hey, what do you want to myself? What do you want to do with your life? Go do it. And then if that applied to me, I think it applied to everybody else. And so I just became more of an inspiration to help people get where they wanted to go, and to just hurdle obstacles that were in their way.
I love that, man. And Noah is a prime example. He is this massive star. Everyone knows his name. When did you realize that Noah was destined to be this star?
So I think destined for acting was probably when he was a little bit older. When he was 3, I knew there was something special about this kid, man, because there was a large sense of charisma that he had and aura. So I knew he was destined for a platform that I think would reach tens of millions. When he was about 10, 11, 12, I kind of started to realize that he was already on a trajectory of acting. And I thought, man, I think this kid has what it takes to really, succeed in that vertical.
I love it, man. And when it comes to the entertainment industry, we all know that it can be a pretty steep hill to climb. It's not easy. What were some hurdles that got in your way in terms of getting Noah to his success?
So, you and I talked before another time, but there are hurdles, man. There were a lot of hurdles, man. One of the biggest hurdles that I say that was there that I recognized early on, maybe when he was 12 or 13, was that you're not going to get help from the industry. And there was tremendous amount of incompetency with people who were gatekeepers within the industry. And I started to realize that those gatekeepers are the actual hurdles. It wasn't outside forces. It was what right in front of you. And so I realized if we're going to do this, I have to figure out a way to get around these gatekeepers, and make it happen. So in some cases, flank them and go make this happen for yourself. Because if you trust them or you get in line with everybody else, guess what, man? It ain't going to happen. And so we really kind of saddled up our horses and we blazed that trail, bro.
I love that you mentioned that because it makes so much sense that, in this industry, you have to create your own path if you want to try and make it because everyone's trying to do what you're trying to do and they're all doing the same thing. So you got to try and make your own way. So I love that you mentioned that.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So you've not only Noah, but you've also helped other people reach the success they deserve. What do you look for when you see someone and they're trying to become the next big thing or they're just trying to be an actor or just work in the entertainment field? What do you look for? What's that special thing that you want?
Distinction. There's got to be something distinctive about them, where I feel like that it's there. It's not just a good voice, like I said, because I try to help people that really I feel have the abilities to get to the larger platforms, and so distinction is really one of the key things that I look for. Some that makes them stand out amongst everybody else that's trying to do what they're trying to do. Not that you're going to have people that are going to sing at bar mitzvahs and weddings, and that's really great. And that's kind of what they're going to do. You're not getting beyond that, right? So the superstars really have that piece that's distinct in them. They have something that's dimensional about them, so it's not myopic. There is dimension to these people, and there's also, believe it or not, in my world, when I look, is what's authentic about them. So it's 3 things: distinction, dimension, and authenticity.
That's a great point. And going off of that, what I just asked you, what are some tips that you give your clients in order to stand out? You mentioned, dimension, You mentioned, standing out. What other tips do you give them?
Um, I mean, they got to work hard, man. So
That's true. That's true.
those three things are really great, but without hard work and grinding, it ain't gonna happen. I don't really, I'm not looking for the one in 10 million, TikTok individuals that blow up, because that's one in 10 million, right? So
Hmm.
everybody else has got to bust their butts, man, to make this thing happen. So if they're not, they have those three characters, they have things that are distinctive, dimensional, and they're authentic. That's great. But if they don't have a work ethic, it ain't gonna happen, man. Because no one's gonna care more than you about what you want. So you better care about it, and you better get to work.
And I love how you mentioned TikTok. Do you think TikTok is the new way for people to get an into this industry? Because TikTok is massive now. It's bigger than Instagram now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All social media is. Social media has leveled the playing field. There is not a better time. Let's talk about act. There's not a better time to be an actor, a musician, a writer, a director than in the history of entertainment. These are unprecedented opportunities because you have platforms that create what you need, which is awareness. I
Hmm.
mean, think about that. I mean, you go back 25, 30 years ago, there was no platforms like this. You had to get in line with everybody else. You had to fly to LA. You had to audition just to be seen. Today, these platforms allow for greater awareness, and that's what it takes. So these are prime platforms right now. All of my clients are working strongly on social media platforms. It's a must. It's a marketing platform.
I love that. And what advice would you give to someone who is trying to make it in this industry? They have social media, they don't know what to do with it. What advice would you give them, whether they wanted to, act, whether they wanted to sing? What would you tell them?
Well, Benny, thanks, man. That's really a great question. Unfortunately, it's not one size fits all.
Yeah,
So,
right,
you know what I
right.
mean? I'd have to sit with the individual, hear them, feel. I got to see who they are, what they believe about this, what their kind of ethos is, their ethic. Where they've been, where they are, where they want to go. It's true. I think it's not one. There are certain things that apply across the board, but then strategically, because you're talking about every individual needs a strategy. It's just
Hmm.
not an accident, and each individual strategy will be customized to who they are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. If they're weak in one area, you got to bring people alongside them to help strengthen that weakness. If they're strong in that area, you kind of lean into that. So and you build strategy around that. And if anybody's out there, you can wing it and shoot by the hip to become successful at what you're doing. But and it could happen. I don't think the odds are very great. But if you really sit down and create a strategy, and realize one major factor, that it's going to take a lot of people to get you to where you got to go. It's not a solo job, man. It takes a lot of people to help you. And so there's the piece that I give you that I think is applicable to everybody out there, is that nobody cares about your dream. Nobody. Okay. So let's just digest that real quick. I don't know if I can swear in this. You're allowed to swear in this place?
Go for it.
No, nobody gives a fuck about your dream, man. So, so you're going to have to will that dream into existence. Now, go back to what I said. You need everybody to help you with that dream. So now you have to convince people to believe in your dream in order to engage with you, to help you do that. And in some cases, give up their dream to help you fulfill your dream. And so really the dynamic, and this is all of any business in life, anything that needs to be done, you need everybody. And you need to communicate with belief and passion what your dream is about, the why behind what you're doing. And that's how people do what we call a buy-in to your dream. And people will help you and come alongside you. Otherwise, it's really impossible. You'll do really good things by yourself, but nothing of magnitude alone. And so that becomes the arduous task of getting others to believe in what you're doing and to participate and provide their own resources, and skill sets to what you're doing.
You speak nothing but facts, man. You speak nothing but facts. I got chills listening to you.
Thank you, brother.
And So I love that you're talking about your job. I want to talk about your personal life also. You have this massive career. How do you separate the career from being a dad to three kids?
6 kids.
So, oh, six kids. My
Six
apology.
kids, man. 2 biological, 4 by my relationship with Jules. I don't. And that would be that. I think that's why we've been successful with our kids, because it's holistic, man. Like, I don't have a job, man. It's my lifestyle. I have a life. And in that life, it's personal, it's professional, it's all in one. It's authentic,
Mhm.
it's dimensional, and it's distinctive, right? So what you see is what you get. And so I think the 6 kids were around this. They went for the ride. Look, I'm not listening to my 6-year-old that says, I don't want to move to Park City, Utah. Well, that's really good. So when you turn 30, you do anything you want. This is my life right now. We're going to Park City, Utah, because I'm living my dream right now. My dreams didn't die when you were born, Taylor, Noah, Justino, Bella, Gianni, Rocco. No. You're going for the ride. And then at 18, you get off land the plane, you get off the plane, go fly your own plane. And so they had a chance to experience this and watch it firsthand. And I engaged my kids in everything I was doing. I mean, I didn't hide. I didn't work and come home. They watched me work. They laid next to my desk doing their homework when I was doing presentations for the animation project, or we were doing the Michael Jackson hologram at the billboards. I mean, they were in the rooms laying down, whatever, listening to conversations. They were sitting in outside meetings in my car, listening to Bluetooth phone calls and conference calls. And they went for the ride. So firsthand, I taught them, not by telling them, by living it. And then they went out and applied it with their own personality type and their own dreams and their own desires and their intrinsic DNA. And that's what they're all individual kids doing their stuff, and they're all going in high levels. So that's how I did it, man.
That is so cool. And so they're seeing, firsthand experience what it's like to work hard and what you can get from, putting in the work and working hard. I really love that. And I loved how you mentioned the Billboard Music Awards, because I was doing my research and I had no idea that you were the main guy behind this, but also Coachella,
Yeah.
Tupac. So cool, because I went to that one. That was the only year I went, and I remember watching it. I'm like, this is so sick. And so when I was reading that you were behind it, I was like, wow, that's amazing. What was it like seeing that all come into fruition?
So that was crazy, bro. Like, I will tell you, that was John Texter. If you Google John Texter, he's just a badass, man. He's probably one of the smartest guys I've ever met in my life. And Texter did Tupac, right? He did that in 2012. I was already engaging with him because he was the CEO of Digital Domain and went bankrupt. So this is a guy, right, who was highly successful, but company went bankrupt, called me for help. I came in. Nobody wanted to have anything to do with this guy. He was going to be sued by the governor of Florida. I mean, and he wants me to come in and help him. I said, bro, the entire building's going to fall on you in about 20 minutes. You want me to come in and have coffee? I'm not going in that building. That began our relationship. It was I found him in his worst state. And I just decided to become his friend when nobody else wanted to become his friend. He did Tupac. I watched Tupac. I was blown away at it. And then a year later, after I kind of became his friend and just kind of coached him along this massive failure, he said, hey, man, we're going to start this company. I want you to be in this ground floor, be a partner with us. And we did. And we kind of stepped off of the Tupac success at Coachella, which was a problem because everybody was on drugs at Coachella. So nobody knew if it was real or not. When they walked out of that crowd, they're going, I think I just saw Tupac.
He's alive.
But that's how we kind of then took the company and brought the Michael Jackson estate on and really had to sell, Benny, a concept that nobody knew existed, which was digital human likeness. We were in the hologram business. We were in recreating a human being and then getting that human being to perform with artificial intelligence, just like it performed when it was alive. That was the technology. Now try talking to people about that. I mean, nobody knew what we were talking about. So that was a really difficult project, man, when we started it. And we did it though, man. We put Michael on stage. It got the world's attention. Our company got 97 billion listen, 97 billion mentions on the internet after that
Wow.
Sunday at the Billboard. So mission accomplished. We created the awareness. Half of the people hated it, half of the people liked it, right? But the problem, the good news was the world was talking about it. Awareness.
Exactly.
It's all about awareness, man. You could have the greatest idea in the world and nobody knows about it. You got the shittiest idea and everybody knows about it and they'll buy it. So it's all about awareness. So that was a ride of a lifetime, man. And that was really, that was the second mountain, a huge mountain I had to climb, to find success. And we did it, and rest is history.
And people still talk about it to this day. And, it's true what you said. There are going to be people who don't like it and there are going to be people who like it. But what matters is it's out there and people are talking about it. And, it was a huge success because at that time we weren't seeing anything like that,
No,
It
no.
was crazy. So this leads me to my final question, man. What's next for you? Because you have done so much in your career. And a wise man once told me, you never stop learning. You always continue to go upwards in life. So what's next for you?
So Betty, man, it's real simple. I don't know. But what I will say is this is my greatest years are in front of me, not behind me. Because my starting point 58 years ago was in a diaper. I didn't have a vocabulary, I didn't have a network, I didn't have any money, and I couldn't even feed myself. And I got here 58 years later. So with now a network, resources, skills, guess what, man? I should be able to really pull off some major stuff in the next 30 years with what I now have, in my backpack. So we'll see,
Hey,
man.
I can't wait to hear more about you. I know I'm going to be seeing you in the news soon, man.
Thank you, Benny.
Any final words to your amazing fans watching?
Nah, man, just listen, man. Keep going, man. Be inspired, not motivated, man. Motivation comes from outside of yourself. Inspiration comes from within, and that'll never die. That flame will never die, and that'll keep you authentic.
Well, Greg, thank you so much. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching Let's Binge About It. Benny Adams, you can find me on all social media at Benny J Adams. Greg, do you have any social media that you want to tell them where they can follow you?
Yeah, man, I'm on all the platforms. It's just my name at Greg Centineo, and you know Noah, so you know how to spell the name.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you, Greg, and thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys later.